This is CHAMP Pac-Em, a 1997 MS-DOS release from CHAMP Programming, a short-lived outfit who developed DOS conversions of arcade classics such as Ms. Pac-Em, which I've touched in a prior video. Ms. Pac-Em is actually a nice little conversion of the classic Ms. Pac-Man arcade game, and even includes some additional stuff like new mazes, a dot generator, and even a level editor. A rather nice package actually. Pac-Em is not quite as impressive a package, and the extra stuff it gets is nowhere near as impressive or as functional for that matter, but it's not all bad. For all intents and purposes, Pac-Em is a seemingly impressive conversion of the arcade classic Pac-Man. The visuals match those of the arcade original as best as it could within the smaller resolution, while the score and other pertinent information is relegated to the sidebar, similar to certain older conversions on the NES and whatnot. The game retains the arcade intermissions, and while the jingles are there, they're done in this obvious MIDI format and with a bit of a twang for lack of a better term. As far as gameplay goes, it's Pac-Man. You know how Pac-Man works. You go around the little maze, you eat the little dots, you avoid the little ghosts when they're not blue and edible. It's flippin' Pac-Man. And Pac-Em does Pac-Man quite well for a DOS release. Controls rather nice, no added gimmicks like speed boosters or anything of the sort. Plays as well as you would expect it, and this is just fine. Like most CHAMP programming releases around this time, Pac-Em featured two modes of play. Classic, which is the original Pac-Man arcade game with no bells or whistles attached, and then there's CHAMP mode, which is pretty much the same game but adds additional gimmicks such as arrows that will give Pac-Man a bit of a speed boost when he runs over them, teleports that will drop you to another part of the maze when you run over him, and a light bulb that makes the maze invisible if ghosts run into them, and you have to go to the light bulb yourself to turn the lights back on. And speaking of ghosts, as you progress farther into the game, you'll encounter more ghosts that will make life a bit more difficult for you, or at least that's the theory. Thing is, this could be a DOS box thing, or maybe it happened on proper DOS hardware, but it feels like the more stuff that's crammed onto the maze, the slower gameplay felt overall. Not necessarily in the make everything easier way, but more of a running in molasses sort of way. And this is where Pac-Em, to me at least, almost feels like a somewhat lesser product if this is the result of the software itself. And even if it wasn't, just running into this sort of issue is disheartening because under ideal conditions, this would have been a nice interpretation of classic Pac-Man with Pac-Man arrangement style gimmicks and Pac-Man plus food items. There are even new intermissions for this mode. In any event, however, should you get this running properly, the later levels in CHAMP mode should provide a bit more of a challenge to the hardened Pac-Man players, although personally I would have preferred new mazes, but hey, that's just me.
Hello, Dave from the future here. The slowdown mentioned is definitely a DOSBox issue. This according to Jean Champeau, the creator of CHAMP games, and I am inclined to believe him. So you just fix your DOSBox settings and it should be running fine.
In any event, at least the classic style plays well, and so I can't rag on it too much. And if CHAMP mode works well on your end, you'll have a bit of variety and challenge there if you prefer that sort of thing. Nonetheless, Pac-Em is a solid conversion of Pac-Man on the DOS format, and it's available for free download at the CHAMP site, along with some other games you could get, which I'll look into somewhere down the line. Though I would personally recommend Ms. Pac-Em over this, since that one has more content. Pac-Em is still relatively good stuff, and if you want just a straight up DOS era port of Pac-Man from the 90s, this is probably the better one to go for.